Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope you're well today. My absolute favorite type of clone fragrance. Yes, it is the zombie clone. Zombie clones, in case you're unaware, are when you take a fragrance that is fully dead and buried in the ground, it is deceased, and you get a lich necromancer, also known as a perfumer from a Middle Eastern brand, and you bring it back from the dead to do your bidding. Yes, I friggin' love zombie clones. Today's comes to us from Lattafa, and it's called Habik, and it's for him because there's also one for the ladies. A very interesting bottle style that we'll talk about here in just a moment, but as I said, this is bringing back something from the dead and letting us experience it once. Actually, that sounds weird. Huh. Yeah, no. Can you bring that back from the dead so I can experience it again? What? You got the wrong necromancer, brother. I'm not gonna tell. I got nothing to do with this. Let's go ahead and take a look at this presentation and we can start talking about Habik and how it smells. First off, the box. On the front, you have the name of the fragrance, name of the house, size and concentration, eau de parfum 100 ml. It's got this almost tribal design, and the box is hairy or fuzzy. I don't like it. There's just something about fuzzy bottles and boxes that I cannot get behind. Brands, please stop making your boxes fuzzy. I don't like it. I like a shaved box, not this. On one side, you have your sticker of authenticity with QR code. On the other side, you have your ingredients and your cautions. Up on top, it says Lattafa, and then on the bottom, you have your badge code and your barcode. And here we have the bottle. Essentially, it looks like it was pilfered from a vampire's nightstand. So it's kind of like a What We Do in the Shadows fragrance bottle to an extent. At least that's how it reminds me of. Very vampirish. Vampirish. Still, kind of a cool look. You have the name of the fragrance right there on the front. The cap is actually quite heavy and has Lattafa on top and across the collar section there. I have a little sticker on the bottom of the bottle, and there is one issue with this, and that is when I took this out the first time and sprayed it, I somehow kind of broke the bottle. So I gripped the bottle like you're seeing here. You see the grip? My thumb is over this little plastic piece here, my finger over this piece here, and what happened was I pressed down and this whole thing just shifted up, and I had to like slam it back down. Now I've slammed it back down, and so I've got it like back in position, but if I apply some pressure, then this whole outer piece will just come off the bottle. Like that. Yay. And you can see where it's like glued, or supposed to be glued, but yeah, just be aware of that. It's not a huge deal because I can slide this back down over the bottle and everything. I say it's not a huge deal, but it is kind of lame. But like I said, you can slide it back down and then, you know, just pretend it never happened. We're all good here. Enough of all that junk though. Let's start talking the fragrance. How much does it cost? It is about 35 bones as of this video. That is at the perfume box. That is without a code. Lucky you, I have a code. And here it is. You can use this one to save 10% at the perfume box, so you can use that across the entire website. Anytime you shop there, save yourself a little money. And then there are a bunch of other codes, as you see here, that you can use across other stores if you shop at them instead. So how does this one smell? What is it similar to? Well, it is a clone of a long discontinued Jean Paul Gaultier fragrance, one that I always really liked. And unfortunately, it did not catch on in a big way. It was discontinued actually fairly quickly and now goes for $300 or more if you're looking on eBay, and that is Le Male Essence de Parfum. So is this one, which is about 10%-ish the cost of that one, actually able to capture how that fragrance smells? Well, this one opens up with a bang. It's bold, it's spicy, it's attention grabbing. It is immediately seductive, like a really sexy evening fragrance. You have cardamom in there as soon as you spray this on, and it's more that warm, sexy, spicy, sweet type of cardamom, not like a really green cardamom. It's layered with lavender, pepper, cinnamon. So like I said, this big blast of sweet, sexy spices as soon as you spray this on. Then you have leather that works in underneath. Technically, there's not leather as a note in this fragrance, but just like in the Le Male, you absolutely do pick leather up. It's vibrant, spicy, smooth, and also has a good touch of tonka in there that you can pick up pretty quickly as well. So while it is sweet, it is spicy, it is attention grabbing, it's also, just like the Jean Paul Gaultier, decently refined as well. Like, it would not feel out of place in more formal situations during the evening, but it also works well during the day. There's no harshness here. There's no need to let it settle. Like sometimes with different clone fragrances especially, you can have issues where you need to let them sit for a little bit. Let it sit for a week, let it sit for a couple weeks, and then it opens up and smells way better. With this one, as soon as I got it in, outside of the little plastic cage coming loose from the bottle, it smelled great. As it begins to dry down, that lavender steps up a little bit. It starts to take equal footing with the spices. It becomes a little bit more prominent, a little bit more noticeable. And that gives you just a very faint touch of sweetness, you know, trying to get like a little juxtaposition, a little balance in there with the spices. It gives you just a little bit of that, and it melts together really nicely with that sparkling stew of different spicy notes that are bubbling underneath. There's a subtle aromatic thread that just kind of wafts through the scent, gives it a little more depth, and it helps keep things slightly lifted, adds a little touch of nuance in there. The tonka comes out more and more as it dries down. That adds additional warmth, sweetness, a little bit of a creamy aspect as well, and it really goes hand in hand together with the leather. You know, it accentuates that, makes it come through a little bit better, a little more pleasing to the nose. And as this one dries down, it becomes a little bit smoother, a little bit richer overall. And part of that is gonna be because of these spices kind of taking a step back a little bit. They're still there, they're still prominent. It's just they don't, you know, jump off your skin the same way. That kind of like big, spicy, sparkling explosion when you first spray it on, that kind of gets reined in as it dries, which makes it come across smoother. In the dry down, that lightly sweetened spiciness lingers beautifully, smells really well done. The leather, the tonka, and also kind of a vanilla feel are all there. It's sexy, it's smooth, it's inviting. The vanilla is more like a dark vanilla, the way that it hits. It's the kind of scent that just lingers for a long time. It keeps drawing people in. It has this magnetic kind of feel to it. All of this very similar to the original, which the original could also remind you vaguely of stuff like C.H. Privé by Carolina Herrera. So this one also has, you know, some similarities to that fragrance. It's not, you know, a dupe of that one, but it is in the same wheelhouse. It's adjacent to that fragrance. So if you like C.H. Privé by Carolina Herrera, you could like this one a lot as well. And thankfully, this one never veers into harsh or synthetic territory. You know, it keeps everything very wearable from the opening into the dry down. And when you're talking about a leather forward fragrance done by a clone house, that's important because leather can get away from you pretty quick and smell like garbage. Now, as I talked about earlier, this is obviously gonna be more of a fall, wintertime fragrance, so cooler weather. You could probably wear it during early spring as well, as long as it's not getting really hot outside. And you could wear it daytime or evening, though it is gonna lean a little more toward evening use overall. And performance is strong across the board. Really nice longevity, great projection, so you don't have to over apply or anything like that. It's bold enough to turn heads and get attention, especially because of that projection, but it's smooth enough not to overwhelm. So is it a solid clone to that discontinued Jean Paul Gaultier? Well, obviously, yes. For 35 bucks, even less, if you use a discount, it nails the DNA. The quality is great. You don't have to wait for it to get better. I will say there is a cheaper alternative out there also that you can get for about 20 bucks, potentially even less. That one is called Posh Omega by Fragrance World. So that one's been out for a while actually, but it's flown under the radar. It's not like a huge release from the brand, but that one you can find oftentimes for about $20. Sometimes it's more, like I've seen it going for 28 on some stores, but JOMASHOP had it for like $19.99, at least when it was in stock, and then some other places had it even less. So if for some reason you're looking at this and you're thinking, I don't know about 35 bucks, you can scoop that one up for quite a deal less. I would say between the two, you know, not taking into account money or anything like that, I'd go for this one. But if that is an object, if that's an issue for you, you do have that one that you can get for cheaper. And that one is really well done for the price, don't get me wrong. Like for 20 bucks, it is solid. It's just the presentation is much more plain. It doesn't have the vampire aesthetic. And this one is a little bit smoother overall between the two. So if you missed Jean Paul Gaultier Le Male Essence de Parfum, this is your second chance to have that DNA, that style of fragrance for roughly 10% the cost. So obviously this is going to be way more accessible when you think about it that way. Bold, sexy, spicy, smooth, sweet. It's everything that you could want in a fall wintertime scent. So there we go, the new Lattafa, one of my absolute favorite Lattafas, period, because they're giving me that zombification. That's what I need. That keeps me going. I'm not even messing with you. If I ever am able to do a clone line, like if I just do it myself or if a brand contacts me and it makes sense, I'm gonna tell them straight up like, look, bro, we're bringing them back from the dead. That's all I care about. Do you want to clone BR540? No, I don't. I want to bring back the dead. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.